Welcome to the Man Amongst Men podcast. Live a life of intentionality, adventure, and brotherhood. Take the inner journey and live out over your edge constantly. Here are your hosts, Dominick and Bryan.
During the autumn of 1949, at the age of 29, Earl Nightingale had an epiphany. It came to him as a bolt of inspiration while reading the #1 best-selling business book of all time, Napoleon Hill's immortal classic, Think and Grow Rich. Nightingale's inspiration turned into a book that he wrote called The Strangest Secret, which went on to sell over 1 million copies worldwide and gave birth to the field of business motivation. Here's a passage from The Strangest Secret that underpins our entire philosophy on the Man Amongst Men podcast.
Let's take 100 men who all start even at the age of 25. Do you have any idea what will happen to those men by the time they are 65? These 100 men who all start even at the age of 25 believe they're going to be successful. If you ask any one of these men if they wanted to be a success, he'd tell you that he did. And you'd notice that he was eager towards life, that there was a certain sparkle in his eye and an erectness to his courage. And life seemed to be a pretty interesting adventure to him. But by the time they are 65, 1 will be rich, 4 will be financially independent, and over half will be broke. Now think a moment, only 5 of the 100 make the grade. Why do so many fail? What happened to that sparkle that was there when they were 25? What's become of the dreams, the hopes, the plans? And why is there such a large disparity between what these men had intended to do and what they actually accomplished?
The Man Amongst Men podcast is for the man determined and already well on his way to becoming one of those 5 who make the grade. And not just from a financial standpoint. That would be like firing on only 1 cylinder of a 6-cylinder engine. Too many men, especially many of the men who come to us, have achieved financial success only to realize that other critical areas of life need serious attention. The Man Amongst Men fires on all cylinders in every area of his life, including living a life of adventure and purpose, forging deep and meaningful relationships, and designing a future he can't wait to live into. And he recognizes that without a conscious commitment to exploring these areas, he will drift. You know you're drifting when your life is excellent on paper, but on the inside, you feel restless and unsatisfied. You know you're drifting when you live life drinking from the fire hose, constantly operating in a state of perpetual busyness and putting out fires. And you know you're drifting when you know that much more of life is out there just waiting for the taking, but you don't know exactly what that is or how to get at it. Living life in a state of drift ensures you'll end up as one of the 95 men who don't, in Nightingale's words, make the grade. Going through life as just another guy. You won't let this happen to you, and we won't let this happen to you. And the Man Amongst Men doesn't win at the expense of other men, quite the contrary. He calls other men forward to live a higher standard by living that high standard himself. So instead of only 5 of 100 men making the grade, he strives to double, triple, or 10 times as many of those men making that grade. He is the one with the courage to move first and then lead others along the journey. I'm Dominick Quartuccio.
And I'm Bryan Stacy. We are your guides on this journey to living a life as a man amongst men and designing a future you can't wait to live into.
I'm an international speaker, author of Design Your Future, and coach to high-performing men. I spent 15 years working in financial services, leading a sales organization for Prudential Financial, owning a $1.4 billion sales goal in a corner office in Times Square, overlooking where the ball drops on New Year's. Things were really good. And in my private life, completely unbeknownst to anyone, I was struggling with sex addiction, an unconscious means for navigating the stresses of my life, and a topic I will regularly draw upon throughout our future recordings. And in coaching and speaking to thousands of men over the past decade, I've unearthed some of the secret nuances that contribute to success, as well as sniffing out the subtly corrosive nature of drift that derail far too many men into living lives of quiet desperation. Men find me when their life is going well, but they absolutely know that it can be better and are willing to do the work to make it happen.
I'm the founder and CEO of Beam Health, where we're revolutionizing perceptions of sexual health, confidence, and wellness. I spent 13 years in corporate consulting with Accenture, leading projects at Fortune 100s and at the FBI. In 2010, my team was creating the FBI's first leadership development program, which I found hugely meaningful. On the side, I was running real estate deals, and if you asked me then how I was doing, I would have answered pretty damn good. But privately, I had an issue which I had been avoiding for months, a small pain in my groin region. When a friend finally convinced me to get checked out, I was diagnosed with both testicular cancer and chlamydia. This seemingly tragic wake-up call eventually turned into one of the most powerful gifts of my life. It forced me to face mortality at a young age and ask myself questions I had previously avoided. Why did it take me so long to get checked out? What am I afraid of? Why am I afraid? What do I actually want in life? Publicly, I was checking all the boxes. On paper, I was great. On the inside, I had more questions than answers. Since then, teachers and experiences helped me define answers to those questions, find courage to start my own business, and the confidence to lead discussions on taboo subjects that everyone wants to understand, but rarely bring up.
So what can you expect to hear on this podcast? Well, we're going to go to places that most men don't, at least not publicly. Like confronting the unspoken and hidden fears holding men back, which we've distilled from the thousands of men that we've worked with. Like illuminating the dangers of an uninspected sex life and how that's holding you back from having the quantity and quality of sex that you want. And like sharing the wisdom that we've received from listening to and learning from the beautiful women mentors in our lives. So if you're wondering where to begin, we encourage you to start with the episode entitled, Stop Drifting, Your Number One Enemy to Living a Powerful Life. That is such an essential episode that serves as the foundation on top of which the rest of our work is built. We invite you to join us on this journey to live a life as a man amongst men.